Is there trouble brewing for Penn State? There's a wrongful termination lawsuit going on that says football coach James Franklin interfered with medical decisions involving his players. I don't know if he did or not, but some of this stuff is over the top, and I'm going to have to defend him here. Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, coming up on 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. All right, there might be trouble in Happy Valley. We'll look at this. Congratulations to Nebraska baseball. They won the Big Ten tournament. They're going to a Super Regional. We'll tell you who else is going. Plus our Tuesday tweets. We have all that coming up. But let's talk some football, because after April spring football, many college football coaches typically enjoy a break from being in the media spotlight for a while. But Penn State football coach James Franklin keeps popping up. He was all over the internet this holiday weekend. There's a situation going on at Penn State. And by situation, I mean lawsuit. A former Penn State director of athletic medicine, Dr. Scott Lynch, he's suing for wrongful termination. Dr. Lynch says he was fired for repeated clashes with football coach James Franklin. He claims that Franklin interfered with medical decision-making by team trainers and doctors regarding whether injured players were ready to return to the field. This wouldn't be the first time this happened in athletics, but we'll continue. Then last week during this lawsuit, Dr. Pete Seidenberg, a former primary care physician for the football team, testified in that lawsuit. And he said, and this is under oath, he said a former player under his care actually tried to commit suicide by jumping out a window. He was stopped and he's still alive. But Seidenberg says that rather than showing concern for the player, who was unnamed, Franklin and then athletic director Sandy Barber wanted the player medically disqualified from the team. This would have resulted in freeing up the player's scholarship immediately so that it could be given to someone else. We should make it clear that Franklin is not a defendant in this case. He's just been brought up a lot in testimony. So in this testimony, James Franklin is accused of pressuring these doctors to rush injured players back onto the field before they're healthy. After all, coaches making millions of dollars every single year to win football games, they need to have their best players on the football field at all times, right? This would not be unique to the world of football, college, or the NFL. Players do get hurt. Coaches want them back as soon as possible. It is the medical staff's job to get these players back on the field, but that's where the gray area is. Some doctors feel that their job security is at risk unless they get a player cleared to return sooner than later. Other doctors may lean toward the player's best interest. That would be good. And they hold them out, maybe an extra week or what have you, whatever is required given the situation. But at the end of the day, the doctor's paycheck is tied toward getting a player ready to play. This is exactly why we have independent concussion protocol doctors in the NFL. Before that, the player's best long-term interest, wasn't always front and center. But moving forward with this particular lawsuit, now, today, Tuesday, running back Saquon Barkley and Trace McSorley, arguably a couple of the most successful and well-known players that James Franklin has ever had at Penn State in his decade there as a head coach, they're coming to testify about how Franklin and the team handled their injuries during their careers back in the day at Penn State. They'll be testifying on behalf of Franklin and the defense. And again, both of their appearances will be today. One will be via a video and one will be in person. We weren't told which was which. In October of 2015, during Saquon Barkley's freshman year, he suffered a high ankle sprain. Testimony thus far claimed that Franklin pressured the team medical staff to get Barkley on the field as soon as possible. Barkley missed the Army and Indiana games that year. And previous testimony also stated McSorley hurt his foot in his last college game in the 2019 Citrus Bowl versus Kentucky. The medical staff checked him out. They cleared him and said, hey, we'll leave it up to you, the player, if you want to get back on the field, which he did. Testimony then described Franklin as being beyond pleased with himself with McSorley's decision and held him up as an example in front of the whole team, as if advocating that players would play hurt. Those are the words from the testimony, as if advocating that players should play hurt. In the past, McSorley has said that Franklin told him not to push it for other injuries. He referenced another injury that he suffered against Iowa. He said Franklin was always checking on him, making sure he's okay, telling him not to rush back, even in the week leading up to the next game. Hey, don't push this. Barkley also stated that Franklin was very supportive of him during his injury in 2015. Now, there's going to be a lot of back and forth here with all this going on in the trial. You could probably build a case to either side. Truth is somewhere probably in the middle, usually with these things. But I read one comment. It was from SB Nation. I'll call them out. They said that while this case is a lot different than the Jerry Sandusky child sex abuse scandal, that this thing going on at Penn State, there's a similarity between these two cases in that it shows that football is way more important than anything else at Penn State. Now, I thought that comparison was way over the top. In fact, I think they owe him an apology for that. You cannot compare a sex abuse case to trying to get players onto the football field as soon as possible. You can't. You can't do it. I'll defend Franklin on that every single day. Now, I also do not deny that football is probably the most important thing going on at Penn State. And James Franklin needs his players on the football field as soon as possible. I think Saquon Barkley and Trace McSorley's testimony will go a long way in supporting James Franklin and the football program. And I also think that Franklin has been at Penn State since 2014. I mean, it's been a decade. And this is the first such accusation of this kind toward him. And I think that should go a long way as well. And he should be given the benefit of the doubt here. Me, on the outside, 30,000-foot view of this whole thing, seems like a disgruntled employee trying to get something after he was let go regarding one of the doctors. That's what I think. I mean, you don't have a whole long line of former players saying, hey, man, they pushed me at Penn State. They risked my career. They made me play hurt. We've never heard any of this with James Franklin. So anyway, I think that should go a long way in this case as it goes on. Again, Franklin is not a defendant in this case. He's just being brought up because he's part of the athletic department, and they're accusing that Franklin helped get them fired, these doctors. But I should say that the reason Franklin is not a defendant in this case, I guess the statute of limitations ran out on whether he could be involved in this. So maybe he would have been otherwise. Just wanted to point that out in all fairness. But anyway, love to know what you think. I already know what the Penn State fans are going to be hitting me up here and saying that this is ridiculous and all that. Nevertheless, it's out there. It's happening. It's a big court case going on right now involving indirectly the Penn State football coach with all the testimony that's going on about him. Again, feel free to hit me up on Twitter or X, also on YouTube as well. Love to hear you there. And on our website, talkbig10.com. Always looking forward to your response there. By the way, feel free to check out our website. All of our podcasts are right there. But what I'd really like you to do is subscribe. If you like what you hear every single day that we're out here talking Big Ten, go ahead and subscribe. It's free. It's a click of a button, and that's it. And then you and I are on the same page, the same wavelength, talking Big Ten football, basketball, baseball, all the time right here. So subscribe and follow Locked On Big Ten for free wherever you get your podcast, and that way you get the latest episode of this podcast as soon as it becomes available each and every day. All right, we've got a new home for the Big Ten Championship for football on TV. It's going to be bouncing around a lot. We're going to connect the dots for you. All that coming up in the later on Tuesday tweets. A lot of great Memorial Day stuff I caught from all a lot of the schools in the Big Ten. All that's coming up here in 1 minute on Locked On Big Ten. FanDuel, it's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a win of your own. So right now, New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150. You bet on point spreads, money lines, player props. A lot of great stuff out there. It's all very organized, very simple, easy to follow. Just visit FanDuel.com/locked on and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Tuesday night action. Got the Timberwolves and the Mavericks. Looking kind of bleak for the Timberwolves. Mavericks are 1.5 favorites here. The over-unders at 210.5. Again, Mavs lead this series 3-0. A lot of times when you get down 3-0, that'll break the back of the other team. I think the Timberwolves will have a little more fight with them. They're just too good. I think the Timberwolves win this game. Ultimately, obviously, I think the Mavericks will win this series. But tonight, I'll take the Timberwolves on that one at +1.5. Rangers and Panthers in hockey. I like the unders in this series. 5.5 is the number. The New York Rangers lead this series 2-1. I like the Panthers to even this thing up at 2. I think this series could be going the difference. That's what I see. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon, LOCKEDON, FanDuel.com/locked-on, and get in on the action. All right, I want to thank everybody for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen every day, especially you everydayers. Thank you very much. Meanwhile, like I said a moment ago, be sure to subscribe. That helps us. I'm asking you to subscribe. I always ask everybody every day, subscribe. That's hard to say 3 times in a row. You can subscribe on YouTube, share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And again, a reminder, check out our website when we're done here, talkbig10.com. Check out some other podcasts as well. I want to say congratulations to the Nebraska Cornhuskers baseball team over the holiday weekend. They won the Big Ten tournament, beat Penn State in the final game, and now it's off to Stillwater and the NCAA Super Regionals as the #2 seed. Big 12 champion and #1 seed Oklahoma State will be the host there. Florida is the 3 seed. Niagara is the 4 seed. So things get started Friday for the Huskers at 2 o'clock Eastern with a date versus the Florida Gators. You can watch that on ESPN+. And if you missed the Big Ten tournament, Nebraska, this is a great story about them. They actually lost their opening game. They were right there into the losers bracket in the double elimination tournament. And they had to win 5 straight games all the way through in order to win the championship. And they did it. So congratulations to them. The last time a team lost in the opening round of the Big Ten tournament and then went on to win the whole thing back in 1995, Ohio State did it. So congratulations. 2 other Big Ten teams getting into the show with at-large bids, the NCAA Super Regionals. The Indiana Hoosiers head to Knoxville, Tennessee for that regional. And the regular season Big Ten champs, Illinois, they're going to be going to Lexington, Kentucky, and that's Super Regional out there. So good luck to all of them. Hey, some sad news for you Buckeye fans. If you remember this, you want to go back a couple of years. Do you remember your center, Billy Price? He retired Saturday due to a medical procedure he had a month ago. In fact, he had an emergency pulmonary embolism, had surgery for that. Had to remove a clot. It was heading into his lungs. Played for the Buckeyes back from 2013 to 2017. He was the 21st overall player drafted in the NFL draft by the Bengals, by the way. He played for the Giants, the Raiders, the Cardinals, the Cowboys during his career. He's 29 years old, but hopefully he'll be doing well, but going to step away from football here. Now, Big Ten football, the championship game. They started doing that in 2011, and we've just gotten kind of used to that game being on Fox. You remember that year, 2011, by the way? You remember who won? Wisconsin. It was a shootout. Wisconsin and Michigan State, 42-39. Anyway, hope you had the over in that game. 81 points, huh? That's very un-Big Ten-like, right? High scoring affair. So Big Ten fans have grown accustomed to that game being on Fox. Well, this year with the new media rights deal and the multiple networks involved and everything going on, it's crazy. They're going to rotate the Big Ten championship. And this year, CBS is going to get the game. You know, CBS used to be tied into the SEC. CBS will get a December 7th, 2024. That'll be the Big Ten championship game on TV. And moving forward, It's going to be, like I said, rotational basis between Fox, CBS, and NBC. So mark your calendars. I'll remind you again later. CBS gets it in 2024 and 2028. Fox gets the Big Ten championship for football in 2025, 27, and 29. NBC just gets one shot at it in 2026. And again, I'll remind you when it comes up. Don't worry about it. Speaking of reminding you, though, it got me to thinking of all the multiple networks that are carrying Big Ten football this year. There are 11 different TV windows or slots where you can catch your favorite Big Ten team every weekend. For example, Peacock, they'll always have a noon game and a 3:30 game. NBC, they'll have a 3:30 game and then NBC Saturday night primetime. Fox has Friday night. In fact, we'll have a graphic of that coming up on Tuesday or Tuesday tweets in just a minute. But they'll have the Friday night game, which is mostly Big Ten teams. I think everyone but the first one and the last one, all Big Ten. Then you got Fox big noon kickoff on Saturday. That's becoming a huge success. Then they will have the 4:00 game if they want to put together a doubleheader. FS1, though, has a 3:30 slot on Saturdays for Big Ten football. CBS will have a 3:30 slot of their own for Big Ten football. And let's not forget the Big Ten Network. They'll have a noon and a 3:30 game every Saturday. That's a lot of Big Ten football. Should be easy for you to find your favorite team no matter what. They're everywhere. It's great. It's great. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. I'll remind you again when we get closer. But I thought it was something I'd bring up since I was talking about the Big Ten Championship changing networks. Going to remind you of all the other networks that are on as well. Speaking of other networks, do you spend your daytime watching ESPN or FS1 or all those talking head sports shows in the daytime? Sometimes you got to turn the volume down. Sometimes you're just screaming over each other. It's crazy. I will tell you, there's a better option. You can check out for free our free 24/7 sports streaming channel called Locked On Sports Today. And it has you the biggest stories of the day without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or for free on the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, we got Tuesday tweets. I was combing them around over the holiday, checking them out, saving a few. There were some good Memorial Day themes from some various athletic departments. So I'll share all those with you coming up. Maybe yours made the list as well. Don't forget, follow me on Twitter at TalkBig10, number 10. You put something out there, I will be glad to share it with everybody because, we do our features. Mondays are Big Ten top 10 observations from the weekend. Tuesdays are tweets. Wednesdays are power rankings. Got a good one tomorrow. And of course, our Big Ten classics and live action on Thursday. We promote for the weekend for Big Ten Network and some sort of pick'em picks, basketball picks, baseball picks, futures picks on Friday. That's how we always go into the weekend. So anyway, got the tweets, Tuesday tweets. See if yours made the list. That's next right here on Locked On Big Ten. All right, time now for Tuesday tweets. Let's get it on the big board here. If you're on audio only, I'll describe them as best I can on the audio here for you so you can follow along and put them here on full screen for you. This one is from at Huskers Baseball, of course, after winning the Big Ten tournament over the weekend. And again, running the table after losing the first game on Tuesday and then winning 5 straight to win the Big Ten tournament. So we've got Illinois. They won the regular season Big Ten in baseball. Nebraska, they win the tournament champions, and they're moving on to the Super Regionals. Winners win championships with this baseball montage from at Huskers Baseball. Congratulations to them. Here is another one. All the feels. It's a picture from at Huskers Baseball holding up the trophy, the Big Ten tournament championship. So congratulations. That's going in the old trophy case when they get home. All right, here is this is also from at Huskers Talk. Now, this is a grid of the top 25 baseball teams from Baseball America, Week 15. Texas Longhorns number 1, Kentucky 2, North Carolina 3. Now, what about this? Look at number 25, Nebraska in there at 25. The big knock on Big Ten baseball all season long was they were never ranked in the top 25. Nobody in the Big Ten really making any headway in the top 25 this baseball season. Everybody says it was a down year. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But Nebraska cracking the top 25. Congratulations to them. Look, there's a lot of good baseball schools out there. There's no question about it. But anyway, Nebraska is one of them. There you have it. All right, what else we have here? This is from at Barstool, Iowa. This is two shots of Kate Martin and Caitlin Clark. The bottom one is when they were teammates at Iowa. The top one was just last week when the two faced off in the WNBA. They were teammates a couple of months ago. Now they're foes in the WNBA. Looks like they're getting along still. Of course, Caitlin Clark with the Indiana Fever and Kate Martin out in Las Vegas. But yeah, it says time flies. Well, just a couple of months going from being teammates in the Final Four to now going against each other in the WNBA. Here is one from at Husker Football. Big old American star. Remember and honor. We remember and honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice and service to our country. Hashtag Memorial Day. Pulled that over the weekend. Here is another one. A lot of schools did these, by the way. I pulled just some of them. Here's from at Go Penn State Sports. Happy Memorial Day from Penn State Athletics. Let's honor and remember our heroes. Absolutely. Here is one from Michigan at University of Michigan Athletics in memory of the heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice. A lot of American flag montage on the bottom with the section of fans from the Big House and the Big Block M over it. Looks cool. Speaking of the Big Block M, this is from at Michigan Football. It is outside Michigan Stadium, and it says, "Let the countdown begin. 100 days till kickoff." It's actually a couple less by now, but because this was from a few days ago, but we're ready. A lot of people are ready. We are ready. Here's another one from at Ohio State Football. Always remember, always honor. Hashtag Memorial Day. Got the Buckeye running onto the field. Always remember, always honor. And here, I was telling you about this earlier. When we were talking about football schedules. This is at College Football on Fox. This is them. Can't wait for the Fox College Football Fridays to kick off. Here's their Friday night grid for the entire season, with the exception of week 1 and the final week, and then the Mountain West Championship game. Everything else is Big Ten. On the 20th of September, Illinois and Nebraska, followed by Washington at Rutgers. You got Michigan State at Oregon, Northwestern at Maryland, Oregon at Purdue, Rutgers at Southern Cal, Iowa at UCLA at Washington, Purdue at Michigan State. And then looks like they close out Oklahoma and Central Florida. But anyway, there's the grid. There's the schedule. Heavy Big Ten loaded schedule here for Friday night football, Friday night lights. Thought I'd put that grid out there so you could check that out. All right, so that's it for our Tuesday tweets. If you were out there, and I'm always looking for you, could put it on here on the program. Don't forget, follow us at Talk Big Ten, number 10. Don't forget our website, talkbig10number10.com. All of our podcasts are there, grouped by teams and chronological order. Plus, you can always buy swag, some shirts, some pennants, hats, something for the office, something for the home, coffee mugs. It's all there on the website. Go check it out, talkbig10number10.com. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe. Just click the button. That's it. That's all you got to do. Doesn't cost anything. Doesn't need any personal information. And you can subscribe and be in our Big Ten loop. Always ask you to do that. Subscribe and follow this podcast right now on your favorite podcast app, and to get the latest episode of Locked On Big Ten as soon as it becomes available each and every day. And I always ask you, word of mouth. Tell your friends about us. I know you know somebody who's a Big Ten fan or alum. Let them know we're out here every single day on doing this with Locked On Big Ten. Love to have you. The more the merrier is what we always say. That'll do it. Can't wait to talk to you tomorrow. Always looking into football programs. I got some stuff I'm working on. I'm very excited about. Thanks for joining us today. Enjoyed our visit as always. Can't wait to talk to you again tomorrow. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman.